So today's short chat, we're going to talk about yes and, which is a practice from improv. And now improv, of course, referring to improvisational theater, just when people go out there and they act together on a stage without necessarily having a script ahead of time, without having memorized any lines, just kind of playing pretend off of one another in a way to try to entertain an audience. Now, improv actually has a long history of intersection with game design, oftentimes university courses, and I was first exposed to this probably back in the early 2000s at Carnegie Mellon, where the Entertainment Technology Center was co-founded as the intersection of the theater department and computer science department, but they would encourage game industry software engineers to take improv classes for two reasons. One, in terms of the way that it kind of helped loosen people up who others maybe stereotypically are a little more introverted, but then also certain practices about collaboration that they thought would be useful in game development practice. And so I didn't take improv classes there. I did take a few, and then over at Georgia Tech took another one or two. Now, specifically, when referring to the techniques for collaboration, one of the key ideas to come out of improv, in a way that really, once you're exposed to it, you can use without having to actually do improv, is this practice called yes and. And what it comes from is this idea that when you're making up a scene collaboratively, you and somebody else are both just kind of make it up as you go along. Each person's constantly putting forth some ideas, are suggesting time period, suggesting what's happening, suggesting what the situation is. And yes and says that instead of trying to disagree with them or change their answer, you try to build off their answer. It's agreeing with them, yes, and then adding something else. So somebody might come out and, they talk about, oh, they've had such a hard time in the kitchen, and they're, and you're trying to read it, okay, they're probably a chef. So rather than trying to change their answer on them and imply that they're instead a, elevator repair person, you might sort of, you run with that. You say, okay, okay, what else can I do with the fact that they're a chef? And where else can I read from that? So, you're a chef, and maybe you've got too many cooks in the kitchen, to borrow the cliche and make it into a kind of scene hook. You might refer to like, ever since we got the 15 other chefs in yesterday, things have been bananas. And this can seem so simple, but it's the same sort of thing that in game development, in our club projects, in professional studio projects, and otherwise, simply in professional communications, if you're in a meeting with people. And there's an opportunity to add on top of what someone else says instead of just countering, shutting down, and trying to replace it. These are the kind of things that make collaboration easier. They lower a lot of barriers, lower a lot of friction, help keep kind of an airier, easier atmosphere, help people keep putting their ideas out there, feeling like they're being built up, feeling like they are finding a compromise between them that's combining them instead of just being one versus the other. And it's a very, very simple idea that put into practice can have all kinds of benefits, whether we're making games, just trying to interact in a professional environment, or sometimes in social settings, where someone has an idea for what to do for the night, and you try to say, well, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's also do this other thing instead of let's do this other thing instead. So that's it for the day. Yes, and it's worth practicing, worth looking into, worth reading about, but there's really not a whole lot else to it as far as finding a way to implement it into your life. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I have another video for y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.